Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Rapid Results with Andrew Weiss. We have the title king here today, Kevin Tacher. And in case you don't know who Kevin is, he is also known as the title king because he's the founder and chief executive officer of Independence Title Inc., a Fort Lauderdale, Florida-based title insurance company. He's an Amazon.com bestseller. He's a national real estate speaker. He's been seen on NBC and shared the stage with some of the country's best real estate and motivational speakers. Everybody, please welcome Kevin. Tell us, what's the biggest and best business deal you're most proud of?
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Andrew. Appreciate it. And it's always good to get on and talk with people and share some inspiring stories. And sometimes I like to share failures as well, because I think with every failure that one has seen, someone else can learn from that opportunity and take it as an opportunity for growth. So to answer your question, I always go back to my early days of networking. I used to walk into the room. I joined an organization called BNI, which was Business Network International, when I was brand new in the business. Someone invited me to a meeting. There were about 50, 60 entrepreneurs in the room. I dressed up in a suit and tie back then. I was probably maybe 25, 26 years old, and walked in. I was scared as hell to talk to people. Like, I was outside, totally scared. Guy grabbed me by the shoulder, brought me inside. And to that organization, I give the credit of my success. I met an interesting person who introduced me to her best friend who owned a local real estate company. Again, super scared. She would always tell the story how I'd be like nervous, grabbing the side of the table just to talk to her.
Wow.
Fast forward now, 25 years later, I'm the exclusive title company for what was her real estate company. She since has sold it. That organization has been for multiple seven figures of real estate closings over the last 20 years. Being exclusive inside a real estate company and not having to give up ownership of a company, a joint venture, giving any type of financial benefit to be part of an organization. Just be there on your own merit because of who you are and how you do business is unheard of in the industry. So I always go back to that because I'm still in that BNI networking organization today. And people always ask me, how does it work for you? And I say, it's one of the most successful things I've ever done because I landed a referral 20 years ago, and it's the gift that keeps on giving month after month after month, 10, 12, 20 closings a month consistently, where most people aren't doing, 10 closings a month, let alone getting it from a consistent source over the last 2 decades. So that's probably the biggest deal, overall deal that I've ever landed. And I still, it's a blessing to this day that I'm still there serving the agents and adding value to their agency, and they keep me around.
Yeah, that is such a crazy concept that people forget that, it only takes one moment, one person who could permanently change your life for the better and just like really skyrocket you to success. And for those who are listening too, Kevin used to be like a fireman or fire security guard at a hotel, right? Like going from that to one of the state's largest title insurance companies. I mean, that's a that's a big shift, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as when I left high school, I always, no matter what I did, whether I stocked shelves at like a beauty supply store for a family friend, I did pizza delivery, I worked parts at an auto parts dealership. I worked for a hotel, high-rise hotel. I was a volunteer firefighter and fire captain and medic. And I've always given it my all to move up the ranks. So the fire department, I moved up to captain before I eventually left 6 years later. But in 6 years, I made it all the way up to captain. I used to run a junior fire department program, again, inspiring the young youth of that time to want to inspire, to be better, stay out of trouble, and do something good with themselves. So same thing with the title company. It was always about going in the deal together, leaving the deal together, making sure I have your back, whether we're dealing with title fraud, wire fraud, real estate issues, problems on a deal. I always tell people, like, from business, every title company is the same when the deal goes smooth. It's when the hiccup happens or there's a problem that you're going to wish you had someone that would fight for you like me. So I just go back to my early roots of being a firefighter and what that taught me about, the things that happen with a fire and how you lead people into a fire and how you have to think when you're in a fire. reactions, things like that. And I just put that into day-to-day business about serving others and serving the community. And it's worked. 25 years, we're still doing what we're doing here, serving the community, and people love it. They love knowing they can call me. I got a problem. Let's solve it. And it's not no, it's how can we get
No,
you to where you need to
I
be.
love that. Not know, it's how can we? It's like you're always looking for a solution and going above and beyond. And so tell us more details. So you made it sound like all you did was met this person and they put everything into your lap and everything was easy to build a business and get a bunch of sales. So tell us more about, obviously you do a lot of networking, but what other skill sets should people learn and be aware of if they want to, be like you, be like, hey, I want to grow a business. I want to scale a business. I want to thrive being one of the best in my area, best in the state. Like, what are the skill sets, knowledge they need to learn and be aware of to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's hard to narrow it down to any one thing, but I mean, looking back on my 25 years of entrepreneurship and going up and down and being broke and then building, back up to a seven-figure business for many, many, many years over and one of the largest title companies in the state at one point, when the market was booming and positioning ourselves for sales. I go back to it's a shirt. A friend of mine actually made a shirt the other day. He has it. The entire FAU basketball team was wearing it. It's called ROE, relationships over everything. And if I go back to business and I think about all of the things that I've created over the years, it all has to do with relationships. Like if you put the relationship first, not sales, relationships. Put relationships over everything you do. I think you're going to have great success in business. But obviously, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to have great relationships and I'm going to have, a seven-figure business." That doesn't necessarily work either.
Yeah.
One of the other skill sets that I learned really early on in business was stop working in your business and work on your business. You can't do both well. So you need to learn to be able to delegate and have a team and have a structure in place to where you can remove yourself from the business and you're working on the business stuff, not the day-to-day operations. So I've been very successful with that over the years where, I can be out of the office for weeks at a time and not skip a beat. And the income still comes in, the deals are still flowing because I'm constantly working on the business rather than in the business. And people listening probably think, well, that's easy for him to say. No, it's not easy. It's I hustled and I grinded and I used to do closings and process titles and do all that stuff. But at some point you have to make the shift and say, I need to make the investment into the business to make sure I have someone doing the things that I shouldn't be doing in order to be successful. And now today with AI, which I know we'll talk about a little bit because we did that when we had our conversation the other day, is that find a way to implement AI to make you work smarter, not harder, to help you scale the things that you don't want to do. Because most, what we'll call you as a solopreneur, right? Most people probably watching more than likely are solopreneurs. Maybe they don't have employees. They're trying to scale themselves. The thing is, AI can help you with a lot of that stuff. You can find ways to implement AI to take on these day-to-day tasks. So many business people are like, well, I can't do social media. I don't have the time. AI does it for you these days. You don't
Yeah.
need to do it. Drafting emails and balancing budgets. AI does it all for you. So, some people are afraid to get their toes wet in this whole AI world, but I have really mastered how to make AI work for me, not to replace me. It's not replacing my business, but it is replacing tasks that we're doing on a daily basis. And just start working, figuring out how you scale because you're never going to be able to work in your business and on your business at the same time. And that's even an easy thing to ask ChatGPT how to do and see what it gives you feedback. Here's my business model. Here's where I want to grow. And then the last one that I talk about, which I do a lot of coaching for real estate agents, and I teach them about forecasting, budgeting, and where do you see yourself. But most people are like, here's my goal I want to be at next year. They don't actually write down their goals. And I tell people, like, do 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, goals, 1 year, 5-year goals. So this way you can look and constantly adjust the goalposts to where you need to be and revisit what worked, what didn't work. How much money came in, how much money didn't come in. How many patients do you need to see? How many mortgage applications do you need to write? How many open houses do you need to do? When I wrote my initial business plan 25 years ago, was how much do I put in the top of the funnel to get one closed unit at the bottom of the funnel? and then just learn to duplicate that.
Yeah.
So I know what my fallout, close ratio, all of this stuff, and you study the numbers, and you're like, well, I need to make 5 phone calls to get one deal, and now you need to make 10 to close two, and 15 to close three, and you can scale then at that point using technology and other things in order to grow your business. So those are 3 tips. Hopefully, it helps people that are watching.
Yeah, and so let's go back to the yeah. I love the ROE, relationships over everything piece. So I think a lot of people go, oh, as long as I meet more people, then not business will automatically flow in. And so how do you, Kevin, stand out to like make sure that when people meet you, they remember you, they want to work with you, they choose you over the competition? What is it that you do to stand out from the competition when you're building these relationships?
Yeah, I mean, early on, there's a lot of things you can do. Very nice business card. You can see this. It's like a 7-layer PVC type business
Seven
card.
layers? Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, it's all
Okay. Yeah.
endorsed, and it's got all different stuff on it, QR codes.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll meet people, I'll try and get them to scan the QR code, add me to their phone. I show them how up and up I am on technology. And if I had to guess, probably one of the most important things you can do are follow up. Following up with people, meeting. I tell people take 3 business cards, don't take 30. Meet 3 people that you can actually get to know them, get to like them, engage with them, figure out if there's some synergy. And even if one of the 3 that you've met becomes a good partner for you, that would be a win. So, a lot of people go into these networking events, they hand out a bunch of cards, they add people to a CRM, and you never hear from them again. I think the key's in the follow up and the relationship, building it. And then there's a whole a list of things you can do in order to do better business. I wrote a book called Rescue Your Business many years ago. I think maybe back in 2019, I think I wrote it. And it was a story about being a firefighter, turning firefighting into a 7-figure business.
Yeah.
And I talk in the book about a lot of the things you can do, like touch points with clients. How do you follow up, text message, email? So you're not intrusive. You're sending added value to them, sending maybe a news article, a link to something you saw, a video, just checking in. Hey, how's the family? Happy Thanksgiving. You come up with several touch points throughout the year. And I talk about not 2 or 3. Like I'm talking, these are referral partners of yours. You should be having weekly or bi-weekly touch points with them. And when you meet them for lunches and things like that. And eventually, if you can convert and have a dozen referral partners constantly referring you business and keeping you what we call top of mind, your business is going to grow. And I'm coaching someone right now, a mortgage guy, and I had him document his wins every day. As small as they may be, I want you to document every day and send them to me. And what he has found over the last probably 60 days, he's doing it now, is he's taken in way more loan applications because he's documenting his wins and he's doing these touch points. And it may not be every day, but if he doesn't do it today, he makes sure he does it tomorrow because he wants a win. And he's enjoying the feeling of winning every day instead of looking at how many deals you closed at the end of the month. So we come up with little things like that just help today's entrepreneur in a fast-paced business world just sharpen their skill a little bit to become better.
I love that. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's like building such good relationships with people that rather than having you be the only person who promotes your business, having 12, 50, 100 people want to promote your business and doing that.
Yeah.
So you add value to them by like referring them to people, by just like checking in on them, or how else do you make sure you are constantly adding value to people?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's we're going to send, we're going to send touch points to them. We're going to send news articles to them. I'm going to just reach out. Hey, how's it going? Maybe have lunch or a coffee with them. I have one tonight with one of my referral partners. I'm going to go to support them at an event. There's lots of ways you can do it to support a referral partner. And what I tell people also is you need to have a clear definition of what that relationship looks like. Do they want a percentage of sales? Do they, which in some businesses it's allowed, like my business, it's not. What do they want in their business? Do they just want the return of business? But maybe you can't give them business. I have a lot of people. So I have this photo that I created. It's a little board. So you see, it's a painting, and each
fun.
one of the people find it, and I have it. It's around the boardroom, and these were, my 5 referral partners for many years. And this lady on this side happens to be the one that owned the real estate brokerage. And then there's multiple. There's real estate investors and things
Wow.
on there that have changed my life. So I keep it right behind me as a memory of my board of directors. And when I say board of directors, like these are the people I would meet with on a regular basis and talk to ask them questions and ask them for advice. At the end of the day, these people are double, maybe not double my age, but I'm in my 40s now, and they're pushing 65, 70. So they were
Yeah.
20, 30 years older than me, so they had much more wisdom than me. And I surrounded myself with the right people, and I came up with that concept, the board of directors painting, and I presented it to them all on stage at an event one day because they had such a great impact on my life that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't understand business and relationships and how to do things. But those people in that there have created what I have today. Obviously with my work ethic and stuff, but it didn't take many people. There's not more than that. There were only about 5 of them that really created huge opportunity for me in my business. And you just double and triple down on those relationships and put that over everything. You're going to have, great success.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing point too. Is just like not just building relationships to build relationships, but being intentional about who you'd like to build a relationship with. Like, who do you want in your board of directors? Who can be the ones who can refer you in the right ways and help support you and I love that. So just like being intentional with your relationships and having that board of directors. Yeah, it's hard to go on because, like you said, they have a lot more experience. They have a lot more time, effort that they put into it. So I love that.
And the other thing also, one other thing that I figured out early on is how to do great novelty promotional product items. So I've given out tape measures that still people have to this day. I've
Yeah,
given out window glass breaks that people still keep in their car today. So I try and come up with unique products that you can give somebody that they're going to keep with them and always remember you. So my tape
yeah,
measures were probably 15, 20 years ago, and people still have them to this day. And like, I still have your tape measures sitting in my car and I
yeah,
use it all the time. So that's another good little tip. When you're creating, don't just do a silly pen that nobody's going to use. They're going to throw it out. It's going to run out of ink. Do something that people are going to keep. It may cost you an extra dollar or two, but it's going to be memorable for a lifetime. Now, you're not going to go to a convention and hand out hundreds of them.
yeah,
These are for your specific referral partners. We've done Yeti bottles. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to give you a Yeti. You're not throwing it out.
yeah. Seriously, yeah.
So,
Oh,
we
do you
do
have a
really.
Kevin Tacher Yeti bottle in your office? I'd love to see what that looks like.
I do. I don't think it's here. No, it's in my other room.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, it's in my other room, but I do these. Like I have hats with my logo on them. I'll give them
I
out to
love that.
people. I
Yeah,
do shirts that say "Real Estate Rock Star" or "Work Hard, Stay Focused, Never Quit." People wear them in the gym all the time.
yeah,
So, and that's what I do with the Yeti bottle. So the Yeti bottle actually says "Work Hard, Stay Focused, Never Quit," and on the other side it says "Independence Title." So, I try and make it so it's not promotional per se, where I'm giving you something that just says it's all about Kevin. It's about something motivational, but there's a little Kevin twist to it, and seems to work very well.
no, I love that. And so speaking of, yeah, work hard, stay focused, don't quit. Let's talk about mindset for a little bit. So, I mean, a lot of people, they go, oh my gosh, making 6 figures, that's a lot of money. Like, how do you have the mindset to go after 7 figures, multi 7 figures, and go, no, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going and growing and scaling. Like, how do you push through those limiting beliefs of like only being satisfied with 6 figure company?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes down to serving others and what you're going to do with that money and who you're going to serve with that money. I think a lot of people, I'm not into the fancy cars, fancy house. I live in a very small house. I have a lot of land, but I have a very small house. I drive a nice car, but I don't have debt. I don't have a payment on it. So I'm not like one of these where I got to have fancy jewelry. I don't wear a watch. So that's just not me. And I figure out how like I have enough to serve others and do great things, give a lot to the church. I've been on boards of soup kitchens and we serve the veteran community and the first responder community a lot. And Honor Flight, which is our veterans, sending our veterans up to the War Memorial up in Washington, D.C. We've done a lot of that. So we just look how to serve more people. With more serving more people, when you start having a passion for what the revenue can do, then I think you start generating more revenue. Now, do I want an 8-figure business? No. Like, I'm very happy. I scaled it to a 7+ figure business, and I enjoy the ride, and I enjoy the money that comes in, and I enjoy the lifestyle I have, where I'm not that entrepreneur that's working day in and day out. I can take, like I said, weeks off at a time and
Yeah.
not have to really do anything but for my cell phone. So I have found what that sweet spot is for me, in order to live the lifestyle that I want to live and I enjoy. I think if I scaled it anymore, I wouldn't necessarily enjoy the lifestyle. I'd be worrying and constantly stressed out. So I have found that sweet spot. But 6 figures to 7 figures, you can speak on. I can share that, and that's just serving more people, and that's hiring more employees that can is serving more people. Right, the more people I have employed, the more people I'm serving. Donating to charity, the more people I'm serving, changing more lives. So people that know me will tell you, like, the relationships over everything is what I'm about, and really serving the community, and giving back to the local community, whether it's the church, the veterans, the first responders. I'm very passionate about it, and it's what I enjoy doing most. So you have to find that. So it's not about the money, it's about what does the money buy you. And for some people, it may be like, it gives me the lifestyle and the fancy
Yeah.
houses and the nice meals and all that. Great. If that's what they like and that's what they want, then that's on them. But for me, it was always like, how much money can I make? And then who can I serve with that money? And what can I do with that money for the next generation?
No, I love that. Yeah, rather than it's like how can I make more money for myself? It's how can I make more money so I can serve more people. That's I love that. I love that framing. It makes a lot of sense, and just like one of those universal laws of gratitude, and goes around comes around. So I love that. And then I'm curious too. So I mean, yeah, it sounds like you've quote unquote made it as far as finding your perfect lifestyle, balancing work and what you enjoy doing. And I guess when you're in the grunt of things, like how did you balance your energy and time with like business growth versus spending time with your family and friends? Like when you're in the thick of things, what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you have to put family first. At the end of the day, family vacations are super important. You can't constantly be working and tied. That is a mistake. And I know you took, Joel is who's a dear friend of mine, and you know him as well. We talk about that in his program about time management and making sure. When my daughter, who's now 22, my son is just turned 8. I was always at everything that my daughter had, whether it was coaching, vacations, soccer, dance. She did dance competitively for 10 years. I was at every recital. So I always made it a point. I would volunteer at the classroom. I was the classroom dad, and I went on every field trip. And, so you make those moments in life in order to make sure you're there. But again, I say it as if it sounds easy, but I have learned to scale the business and work on the business rather in the business. If you're working in the business, it's very hard for you to just walk away and say, well, if I go to my kids, let's say field trip, like, I'm going to miss out on working, get so behind. So there are people that you're in that position, and that's not someone that's going to be able to do this. But I will tell you that I have learned to work on my business, and on my business means I'm not held hostage by a calendar and schedule. Although there are times where I have to choose a business event over, my son's baseball game, because that business event just happens to fall on the same night as my son's baseball game, and I need to be there because that's part of business. But having the schedule ahead of time, I don't fill my schedule with events, so I'm not at those things, right? And I'm not talking just coming home and spending time with your family, right? You got a business, but it's the important things that they will remember, and the important times. Like, I don't work weekends. There's only one event I do once a quarter on the weekend, and it's like 1 hour, and they know that. Like, I do that for them. I don't do it for anyone else. I don't work on the weekends. So I'm very big on, like, weekends are my time and family time and things that we're doing. So you have to be able to have that discipline and that structure. That's all.
No, I love that. It makes sense. All right, let's transition over to AI here. So I know we can make a whole podcast episode about this, but let's dive in here. So tell us about your origins with AI. Like, were you scared? Did you like say screw this from jumping in? Let's start from the beginning of your AI journey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get scared by opportunity. I'm at a point, as a blessing, I could throttle back on business, probably sell the real estate and live on what I have saved. Not great life, but I'd live, I'd survive, and I'd do something else.
Yeah.
So I don't get scared, like thinking, oh my God, it's going to put me out of business. But I do dabble in many different, not just the chat GPTs, but I do dabble in different platforms to see how can it work. And I take different classes and learn little things here and there to just turn up the dial a little bit. So anyone that would call my office, if you Google me and just call my office, you'll see that I have a fully automated AI virtual assistant that answers my phones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, doesn't call in sick, doesn't take days off, no
Wow.
vacations.
Yeah.
And she's super sweet. And she'll never give you an attitude, no matter what you say to her, no matter what side of the bed she woke up on. So, we look at things like that and we say, well, what's that opportunity? Well, the opportunity is I don't have to worry about the person in my office answering the phones or calling out sick or having a bad day or being hungover or just being moody or just not feeling well. So we've programmed it to be able to give you a nice, friendly customer experience for the end user. And that's a great way we're using AI. The other one is the platform, which we talked about on our last call that I have. That's 6 AI virtual assistants that do everything from executive assistant, legal assistant, sales assistant, social media, blog writing, and a bunch of other things. So, you find these platforms that work really well. And like I said earlier on, can help dial in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that a computer can do better, can do faster, can do more efficient, but more importantly, free up time so you can now scale and do other things. So I have friends of mine that are building, 300 agents doing things for them on servers. They're scaling it to that level. So again, it's about what your business is and how can we take AI and just make it better and enhance it. Now, if it's replace it, then maybe you replace it and duplicate it and do something else and then replace that again and duplicate. So again, AI is not to scare people. It's to enhance what you're doing and increase, at the end of the day, your bottom line, because I can do it much faster, cheaper, more efficient using a computer, because the computer doesn't necessarily make mistakes, way less mistakes than a human's going to make.
Yeah. Well, so tell us more about the virtual assistant that you built. I think you said it took you like 3 months to build it. Like, what platform did you use? Like, how'd you build it? Like, tell us more details of that.
Yeah, that's a mixed platform. So I used obviously a lot of OpenAI, ChatGPT, and other OpenAI models to build the content of what it looks like, the Q&As, how it works, things like that. And then we have 4 different platforms. It's OpenAI, open sourced AI, which is kind of like ChatGPT for the data plus whatever data we filled in. Go High Level's the CRM, so it integrates with Go High Level, which is the communication side to it of managing the numbers coming in and which agent does what and where things go, booking appointments and transferring calls. So that's kind of the brains behind it. The Twilio, which is a phone service provider, phone and texting provider. So that's kind of our data of the phone and texting platform. And then our voice agent is a company called Simple Talk AI. That's who we engaged for our voice. We were able to dial it into the best available voice that we liked. Her name is Emily, and anyone that can dial in and talk to Emily and
Right. It's
ask
called
her.
Voice. What's that voice one called?
Simple Talk.
Oh, Simple Talk. Okay.
SimpleTalk.ai. SimpleTalk.ai is the voice agent. Twilio is the phone provider, the phone and texting provider. Go High Level is the CRM, and OpenAI is the open source data. So those 4 come together to make the brain, and the brain is used to answer hundreds of calls a day and answer thousands of questions and
Wow.
everything from financial data to giving clients just a better user experience. They don't answer file related stuff. We're not programming like client data in there. These are just general questions that people call and say, can you handle this? What are closing costs? Where's your office located? I need to verify wiring instructions. They go through a secured verification process. Or do you work with investors? Are you investor friendly? Do you hold escrow? What is a deed? What is all these questions that just come into us every single day that I don't need to pay someone $25 an hour to answer that question and then get sidetracked from other work that they're doing when I can have a friendly voice engage with them and have a conversation with them. And we disclose, we're not trying to trick people thinking it's an employee. As soon as you call, we disclose I'm your virtual AI virtual assistant, and I'm here to answer any questions you have. And if
But
you'd
it
like to
sounds
be
like a
transferred,
person though when you call.
yeah, try it out, man. Try it
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Let me know
What's
what you
what's
think.
the number to call to test it out?
954 335 9305.
954-335-9305.
Yep. And
Oh,
anyone listening, you can call. She can handle 1,800 calls at once.
oh my
So you
gosh.
won't flood or break my back end. And yeah, unless you have 1,800 people calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, her bandwidth is pretty high, and it is pretty amazing how far you can go with it and take it to answer the questions you need. If you're buying or selling a home in Florida, that's where she answers questions. Like, I'm a first-time home buyer. I have some questions. Anything you can think of. Even ask ChatGPT. Give me the top 10 questions to ask a title company when calling, and then just ask it and see if she can answer it. One person has been able to stump her on a question where she got it wrong. She gave the wrong answer, and then we fixed it and programmed it. It was about recording a certain agreement that
Um,
investors use, and um,
yeah, because I know like ChatGPT, I think that's the platform that hallucinates the most out of the other platforms, and so I'm glad you guys are able to find that.
yeah, we were able to dial it into where it's not going off the rails. You can't keep her on the phone long. You can't ask inappropriate questions. Like, we've put a lot of firewalls
Wow.
and blocks in there to make sure we're keeping it on track and down to our mission. Especially because we're paying per minute, right? Per
Yeah.
minute that they're on the phone. So we want to make sure it's a good experience, but they're not also just sitting and having a conversation for an hour.
Very cool. Okay, I like
They're
that.
bored. They're
Yeah.
bored and calling.
Yeah, no, and it's also can also transfer them to a human at any point too during business
At
hours, I'm
any
sure.
point, it'll transfer
Yeah.
you to a human. You can just, the best part is also you would call my office. Let's say one of the girls would answer, oh, thanks for calling Independence Title. How can I help you? They ask a quick question. Oh, who's your closer? Let me look at it. Oh, you need to speak to Stephanie. Okay, let me see. Oh, she's on the other line. Hang on a second. Let me put you on hold. Now you just say, Stephanie, and it'll transfer you right to Stephanie's phone. And if she answers, great. If she doesn't answer, she'll call you right back. So,
Very
it
cool.
also is the ease of getting people to where it needs to go quickly.
Got it. And so that's your yeah. It sounds like your pride and joy of that virtual assistant you've created. You say it took you like 3 months to make. That makes a lot of sense. How you had to like figure out all the questions and the answer and dial it in with the firewalls and the paywalls. And then I know that you're now obsessed with Marbleism as well. And so yeah, Marbleism. So what's the difference between this virtual assistant and the executive assistant then?
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually going to bring up Marbleism to you as well because they have
Okay.
a phone agent built in with them as
Oh
well.
wow. Oh, very
And
cool.
I've tested it. It works pretty good. I mean, obviously mine is way more custom and
Yeah.
transferring calls to multiple extensions. But for the solopreneur or like a real estate agent, they can actually utilize the Marbleism to be able to generate it. But Marbleism has 6 different people. So there's an executive assistant. Think of it like your secretary,
Yeah.
not answering calls, but your personal executive assistant monitoring your emails, responding to emails, not sending, but drafting, saying, hey, email came in from so and so. I took the liberty to make a response. Check it out in your drafts.
Yeah.
And eventually they learn your style and how things are drafted. So think about that as like your executive assistant, if you had one. Then you have a virtual, not a then you have like a virtual receptionist, which would then answer calls. They would answer calls, transfer calls, take messages, transcribe, things like that. So we use that for lead management. So internet leads come into this phone number, and then that voice agent will answer the calls, screen the calls, help guide the question. If it needs to come to me, they transfer it right to me. So and then it has other things, blog writing, social media. Like, I have content built out till mid-June
Oh wow.
with very little effort for me. And I
Yeah.
have blogs that are written on our website. So we got a lot of blogs that go out twice a week. So that's all written utilizing that, and it posts it right to a WordPress blog. So, for the price that they offer it, it's, which we talked about, it's again just helping you work smarter. I don't think necessarily social media these days is like what it was having a website. Like, it's just something you need to have, where websites used to actually be a thing. Now I think it's kind of just like a placeholder. Like, every business has to have a website. Every business has to post on social media, but I don't think it's necessarily generating business.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Okay.
It's more
Uh,
branding.
yeah, and I know you referred like 25 people to Marbleism. I know I still need to go through it and check it out. And just by looking at the layout, like for me, like I even though like I know I'm quote unquote a little more tech savvy than others, like I love when things are simplified and they're easy to use and not complicated. And yeah, just looking at the Marbleism interface, I'm like, oh, this does look pretty easy, and you don't have to be too tech savvy to use it. So definitely, I'm excited to check it out. Um, and then what about having your employees use AI? Like, how do you incorporate that with them? How do you make sure they're using it or staying on top of the game? Because I know sometimes it can be tricky to teach old dogs new tricks or something. So how do you make sure your employees are staying on top of things with the AI?
Yeah, listen, it's the same. Like as a leader, which you kind of led off in your intro, like you got to be a good leader and you got to be able to share with them, what platforms are going to make their job easier. And now they call ChatGPT chatty, and they're utilizing it and enhancing it. And I think as we come up with more and more tools, they're definitely using it, and less for them. I think it's less employee use and it's more owners to make the job easier and more efficient, and your business is better. And so I think AI is more for the entrepreneur, the soulpreneur, than the employee themselves. But they definitely use it, and they're using it for answering questions and how to draft an email and things like that. So it
Okay.
works, but they're not using it to such a higher scale as I am. But they're buying into it. They love the voice receptionist. Saves them from having to answer the phones, which is great. The phones don't even ring anymore.
Oh wow, that's yeah, that's pretty impressive too. And still the business coming in and things. I love that.
And not
Uh,
everyone likes it. You have to remember, some people are just going to be scared of it. And years ago, I was one of the first businesses when it first came out to launch, virtual assistants in the Philippines. And I used to have a
whoa,
whole office in the Philippines.
wow,
I'm talking, 15, 18 years ago, I had a full office in the Philippines working for me. And people are like, well, I don't like talking to someone in the Philippines. I said, it beats an autoresponder that you'll never get a call back. So
yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to just get used to it, because you can talk to someone in the Philippines and say, do not put me on hold until you have Stephanie on the phone ready to transfer me, and they'll do it. So when you get someone like that, like using AI is like the Philippines, but there was a little bit of a human error to that because they're human. It's the same as the Philippines. It's you get a service that you're not going to get here in the States, unfortunately. It's just that work ethic isn't the same. And there's a different work ethic in the Philippines, and AI does the same thing where it doesn't stop until it completes the task. And that's the way the virtual assistants in the Philippines are wired. Like they don't stop until they get you the answer that you want.
I
May not
love
be
that.
the answer you want, but they don't get you an answer. And that was the benefit of the Philippines. I would always say is they will work until they get it completed.
Yeah,
And I still get to today people in the Philippines doing stuff,
well,
because I think
I
it's
went to the
amazing.
Philippines last year, and like, well, first I was like so impressed by their customer service and like how they go above and beyond to serve, and also like what's also crazy is people don't realize that there are more English proficient people in the Philippines than there are in the United States, and so and so
And
yeah,
they have a culture of wanting to serve you,
yeah, absolutely. Oh, definitely.
wanting to serve you at the
Yeah,
highest level.
yeah,
And that's what I like. I wish that culture was here. And I tell people all the time, if you can find me that culture here consistently in the States, it's worth it. But it's very hard to find that culture of
yeah.
like, whatever you need, we're going to get it done. And so I love it. I think AI, as long as you're using it for the right thing, can be very, very powerful to scale a business
Oh,
and
thank
give you the ability to grow your business from six figures to seven figures, or seven figures to eight figures, whatever that looks like for you. And it can come up with stuff way quicker than anyone else can, and do things way quicker than anyone else can personally. And it's pretty powerful.
Well, my favorite quote about the topic too is like AI isn't going to take over the world. The people who know how to use AI are going to take over. And
Correct.
this other guy wrote like a great article too about industry disruptions are a good thing. He talked about like when the first like it was like tile texture or like sewing machine. Basically, it was created like, oh, you're going to put all these people who hand sew clothes out of work, and it's like, no, you're actually going to explode the global economy because now you need more ships, now you need more people to build the ships, now to transport the cargo. Like now you need more factories and warehouses, you need more constructions to host all these new clothes, and stuff like that. And so like kind of understanding that, there can be a lot of positive things happening with AI to allow us to focus and do other things so they can take care of other things as well. So yeah, I definitely agree that it's okay industry to disrupt. Just like you used to have to like Kodak cameras, like just like with the ice industry, like a lot of things, like people go, oh no, if this industry is gone, then no one's ever going to work ever again. But there's always there's always something somewhere. So you just got to search
Correct.
for it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you just embrace it and try it. If it doesn't work, you move on. So that's why I do a lot of these subscription ones, and I'm like, let me try it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Base 44. I don't know if you've ever used Base 44, but again,
No.
it's an amazing one. It's like $20, and you can basically, it's building coding, so you can code apps and web stuff just with using your languaging. Like you can
Wow.
voice to text or type in what you want, and it builds all of the programming in the back end, and it's 20. So like I built a closing cost calculator,
Wow.
um, like totally legit, totally accurate, and it's $20 a month, and so you're doing without having to do the coding, and you tell it exactly what to do, and calculators and anything you want to do, it does it. It builds like a mobile app for you, like a web app or a mobile app, and pretty wild, So again, I play with all these different ones, and then tomorrow there's five others that
Yeah. I
are
know.
probably better, but you got to just do something than nothing.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Yeah, just at least because when there's like a new tool, like there's usually still skill stacking involved anyway. Like as long as you have some basic knowledge and experience, like you should still be able to use that new tool with ease and stuff like that. So I do like that. And so shifting gears a little bit too, we were talking about the Philippines. This is kind of relative. And since you're someone who's living an amazing solopreneur life, you're doing what he wants when he wants. Tell us what are some of the favorite vacations you've taken with your family or solo, and why?
Vacations. So I'm a big cruiser.
Okay.
I love cruises. Like people say, like, what are some of the best vacations? Cruising is like my vacation.
Yeah.
Um, I've been all over the world scuba diving, Bora Bora. So I traveled French Polynesia scuba diving. That was a pretty cool trip. But other than that, I'd probably say, cruises. So, that's like an epic trip, but you got to fly there. It takes a day and a half to fly there. Um, but I will say that cruising for me is the best because it's like set it and forget it. You literally book the cruise, you get on it, and they do all the thinking for you.
Yeah.
The schedule's there, everything. You don't have to think of anything. Where do I want to go? Like, no, I like snorkeling. Boom, hit snorkeling. So I personally think that a cruise is the best vacation for me. But some people love other things. But for me, it's
What are your
cruising.
favorite cruise lines?
I don't know if I should admit it on camera, but Carnival is my favorite.
Listen, I did a Carnival cruise a few years ago, and I had a great time. Like, because as someone
Yeah,
who like loves doing activities and seeing shows,
yeah.
and I had a
I'll
good
give you the
time.
caveat. You have to do a 7-day newer ship,
Mm-hmm.
but for the price, I can go on probably 3 Carnivals compared to 1 Royal. And we usually get 2 rooms and balconies, and like so. At the end of the day, to do 3 Royal Caribbean cruises is just not in the budget. So but to do three, like last year, we did 4 Carnival cruises,
Wow.
and for me, it has to be a 7-day, and it has to be one of their XL, larger class ships because I
Yeah.
think you get less of the riffraff and trouble on those, and
Yeah.
the fighting and the alcohol abuse and all that crazy stuff, drugs and
Oh,
crazy stuff.
geez,
But
drugs too. I haven't heard
Carnival is
about that.
definitely the lower of the barrel for cruising. But I've been on them all. I've been on Disney. One of my favorite cruise lines is Disney, but
Really?
that
Oh, wow.
price tag,
Yeah.
that's probably triple, quadruple the cost of Carnival. But I've been on every cruise line, not like the fancy ones, but I've been on Celebrity and Royal and Norwegian and Disney, and so I've been on pretty much every cruise line, and I still think Carnival seems to be my favorite. I love the food. I love how fun it is. The entertainment's amazing, and you always walk off like having a great time.
I love that. No, I mean, yeah, I had the time of my life. I did the Caribbean cruise on the Carnival, and I don't know how big or new a ship it was, but I had a good experience. And so I love that. All right, and then yeah, I guess it's kind of related to vacations too. My next question is, how do you know when you feel like you've made it in life? Like, what you made it. Like, how do you know that?
I don't know that you ever make. I mean, what do you consider make it? Make it as far as what? I'm still grinding. I'm still paying bills.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not retired where I'm not having to worry about working. So I don't know that I've made it. I think what I have made is a comfortable lifestyle. The thing that really created that is the belief in zero debt. I don't have credit card debt. I don't have car debt. I don't have any credit card balances. Everything's paid off in full every month. If I can't buy it with cash, well, meaning like I can pay it off by the end of the month. If I don't have the cash in the bank, I don't do it. I have no interest.
Yeah.
The only exception is a home mortgage that you live in, but even investments, like I don't leverage. I'm not a leverager, so that gives me the freedom of just living a comfortable life and knowing that I don't have to stress about my bills next week, next month, next year. Uh, so for me, that's what works for me. But for other people, it's different, and so every person it's different. But I wouldn't say I've made it. I would say I've made a comfortable life for myself that works for me, and I don't need to do the grind every single day, and I can get by and enjoy my life and make sure my family has what they need to have, um, and that's it, and just grind it out every day. But I still work every day, but usually work from my phone. I'm just not at the office working, but I'm
Yeah.
still on my phone and I'm still checking messages, responding to calls and emails, and maintaining the relationships with people that I can do from anywhere. So I still work a lot, and but yeah, I wouldn't say I've made it. I'm not, and I don't know that maybe they do, but I don't know that any truly successful person says they've made it because they're always room
Of
for
course.
improvement, right? They've never stopped.
Yeah.
Very few people stop, and
Well, I
those
think
people
that's
that
a
stop
good
are
to
on
give
social
yourself some credit.
media.
I mean, like you said, credit cards are paid off, cars are paid off, house is paid off, like no debt. You take vacations when you want to. You enjoy your work. You could sell your business if you wanted to. And so I understand. Yeah, you always want to move the goalpost where you want to achieve, but that's still pretty good. A lot of people can't say the
Yeah,
same as far as
correct. A lot of people
having.
can't say the same, and
Yeah.
I don't necessarily look honestly, and it's good you said that. I'm not necessarily always looking to move the goalpost. Like I'm comfortable where I am.
Yeah.
I know what works for me, so I'm comfortable where I am. But if I just gave it all up tomorrow, I don't know what life wouldn't be as comfortable as it is now.
Yeah.
Um, so it's you're not stagnant. You're just constantly doing your day-to-day stuff, and i'm just I'm living a comfortable life, and it's a free life, free of stress and anxiety and wondering, am I going to pay the how am I going to pay the mortgage and the car payment this month. And listen, I've been there, don't get me wrong. That's what my book was about.
Yeah.
uh, that I wrote was all about how I lost it all in the crash of '06, '07, and I was $750,000 in debt, and then eventually turned
Jeez.
it around and built a seven-figure business. So I've been there. So people listening, like I've been there. I've had those troubles, and I was able to dig myself out of them, learn a very serious lesson, and maybe it messed me up mentally, which is why I don't leverage stuff. That's probably part of it, where I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm just living a comfortable life.
No, makes sense. All right, well, I have a few questions left here. So, yeah, kind of on this topic. So, if you already mentioned this, I don't think you did though. But what is the next end game you're working on? Like, what does Kevin see for himself for the next big end game?
The next big end game. I think the next big end game is not scaling the business per se, but as the business grows, eventually creating a exit strategy like every entrepreneur wants. I have it ready to go. It's just a matter of timing for the market and what that looks like. I had the opportunity in the last uptick, so maybe the next uptick, that's what the market looks like. A lot of people are like, "Why would you want to sell? What would you do?" I'm like, "Isn't that what every entrepreneur wants to do? You scale a business, you sell a business, and maybe get back in the business a few years later." But
Yeah.
That's about the best I got, when it comes to that.
No,
And we'll see how it works. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't.
no, I love that. And then what gets you fired up the most every day when you wake up? Like what gets you so excited to start each day?
I will say, what gets me fired up? I was almost 300 pounds. I was super depressed, a lot of anxiety, in debt, couldn't move, like unhappy. Um, Getting up and going to the gym every day, as much as I hate it, like I don't like working out. Joel will tell you, like I can't stand working out, and I love eating, but I get fired up to get. I get up 5 a.m. every day. I'm in the gym by 5. I get up at 4:15. I'm in the gym by 5 a.m. every day. Don't like it, but I force myself to do it because I don't want to go back to the old me.
Yeah.
And that's how I start my day. Like there's days I don't come to work till 10. Like I go to the gym, I come home, shower, lay down in bed, watch some TV, drink a coffee. Like I have no reason to go at 5 a.m., but I do.
Yeah.
And so that for me is what keeps me going.
I love that. No, that's very, very inspiring, and thank you for sharing that. All right, last two questions. Yeah, Kevin, I know you gave the phone number earlier, but what are the best ways that people can connect with you, get a hold of you, learn more about you? Yeah, tell the audience how they can connect with you.
Yeah. Listen, put my name in social media, you'll find me. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Kevin
TikTok,
Tacher, Title King, right?
everywhere. Just put Kevin Tacher anywhere. There's not more than one of me. Uh,
And for
it's
those
not a
listening
common
to
name.
Tacher spelled Tacher, Kevin Tacher, Title King. Yes.
Yeah, you just put it in. You can find me and connect with me, DM me, ask me any questions. I really am an open book, and I love sharing success stories and ways to help other entrepreneurs, and uh, regardless of the industry. I feel like I'm like a business coach by nature, and I love having business conversations. I think I was telling you, I have a friend of mine who we go rucking, and we do one long ruck every month, and we're going longer and longer. Like we did 18 miles the other day. Next one's 20 miles, and he gets a ton of nuggets that he implements in his business. And it's kind of like a coaching session for him. He wanted to hire me to coach him at first, and I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want the responsibility of you paying to coach me. But listen, I need to do fitness, you need to do fitness. Let's go on a long one. It takes
Yeah.
5 hours, and you
Yeah.
can bring your questions, and we have those calls. We have those conversations while we're doing that. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. So I just love helping people and solving challenges, and it's really about serving other people. And the more people you serve, the more business you're going to get in return, and the better the life you're going to have. It says there's a good book by Bob Berg. I think we talked about
Yeah.
Bob.
Go Giver. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on your thing. So Bob is a friend of mine. I was actually one of his first Go Giver consultants.
Oh,
Almost 2 decades.
wow. Yeah. Very cool.
And Bob is a friend of mine, and he says, you know, um, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And just to be a go giver, it's a way of serving others. The more people you serve, the more business comes in. So he says, like, your income's determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So your income will increase by serving more people. And serving more people is also a two-way street, right? So it's not like I'm giving to you without any expectation. I'm not expecting you to give back to me, but if I serve you, something's going to come back to me.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's the
absolutely.
theory behind it.
No, it's a great theory. And just like, yeah, altruism is real. And just like, especially like, yeah, giving without expecting anything in returns, like giving because you want to give, and just like knowing what goes around comes around. It's just like, it's a better way to live too. Like, I like when people say that too, like when you give to charity, you're being the selfish one because you're actually receiving, good feelings from giving to charity as an example. And so just like giving to others, you should receive good feelings just by giving to others. So I love that.
Yeah.
And maybe this is relative too, but the final question for today is what's the one takeaway you want people to have from our conversation from today?
Relationships over everything, as my friend David Dweck says. It was so impactful that the whole FAU basketball team, that's their shirts that they wear. It says relationships over everything. It's
Yeah.
sponsored by FAU basketball team. And, to me, although that's been my thing for many, many years, he just happened to do the shirt that says relationships over everything. But relationships are key in business. And the stronger you build your relationships, I think the more successful you're going to be in life. But genuine, deep business relationships. Like, how can I genuinely help your business grow? What do you need? How can I help you? Forget about me. It's about you, and your business will thrive in return.
Relationships over everything, everyone. So, yeah, thank you, Kevin, for coming on today, sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom. This has been such a pleasure. I've been taking notes myself and excited to implement what you've taught us today. And then everyone make sure to follow Kevin, connect with him. He's an amazing human, has a lot of ways he can help serve you. He's one of the best in his industry for a reason, so definitely connect with him. And so thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week on the next episode of Rapid Results. So thanks, Kevin.
Have a good one, everyone. Ciao.